What's up everyone, today I'm upgrading my desktop computer for streaming. I'm gonna show you how I do it. So what do we've got here? 32GB of Crucial DDR5 RAM, an Intel i9-12900K CPU, a Noctua NSG15S cooler along with its mounting kit for Z690 motherboard, an Asus MATX Z690 motherboard, a 2TB Samsung 980 Pro NVMe, an Elgato Camlink Pro capture card for multicam production, HDMI cables to plug between different camera angles and the capture card, and miscellaneous streaming components. That's what it looks like once everything is set and up and running. The reason I'm making those hardware adjustments is not so much because there were performance need when I'm video editing, although I've not edited 8K footage yet, but because I want to add multicam capture PCI card, and my GPU is overhanging on the second PCI slot of my Z390 motherboard. That was just bad design back in those 2018 MATX motherboards. Now in those new Z690 motherboard, as you can see, the second PCI slot is at the very bottom of the board, and so it leaves enough space to plug in a second PCI card. So first thing, I'm going to copy all the data from my current PCIe 3.0 NVMe to the new PCIe 4.0 NVMe. And to do that, I've made a bootable USB key that has an app that can clone all the 0 and 1 of one drive to another, making a perfect system clone. And I will need to remove my GPU, and that's gonna make things easier to swipe between the NVMe. And one thing that is quite useful to have here is a CPU that has an integrated graphic unit. And for Intel, you recognize that with letter K at the end of the reference number of the CPU. This is my main computer I'm going to upgrade today. I have lately used it for photo and video editing. It's a late 2018 build. It's a 9900K CPU with BDI DDR4 RAM and RTX 2080 Ti GPU on MATX Z390 motherboard. The goal here is not to build a fancy looking PC, but to build something that has everything useful in the use case of photo and video editing and streaming, and also that has all the unnecessary stuff cut out, like having a giant RGB tower that takes a ton of space and that is so big that you cannot place it on your standing desk. You will also have more surface to collect dust with lots of empty space inside the case, with empty PCI Express slot on the motherboard, because you will never push the setup to a SLI setup. So I'll boot up on the cloning app. Going into tools and utilities, I can clone disk. I'm gonna select manual, and then select the source hard drive. So my source hard drive is this one. Next. And the target hard drive is the new NVMe that is not initialized, this one. Next, select the required cloning method to use on another machine, this one. Since we are replacing motherboard, CPU and the RAM. Choose data moving method from old to new hard drive. Since both the source and the target hard drives are the same size of 2 terabytes, I'm gonna use as is. That is the least destructive method to do the cloning. So before I proceed, let's move to option. In the option menu, you have the possibility to exclude some files and folders, but that's not what we want. We want to clone everything. So we're going back as is. Yes, next. So here you have a summary page of the before and after of the target disk, which is disk 4 here. Let's click proceed. And I'm gonna choose shut down the computer. Now we just have to wait the completion of the cloning process. Once this is done, I'm gonna just plug out the old NVMe and try to boot with the new NVMe so I can make sure it's actually working and that I have the exact same system as before. The cloning process was successful. Now I'm going to remove the old NVMe and try to boot on the clone NVMe just to make sure that everything is working. Nice thing with this screwdriver is it's magnetized, very useful to extract screw. So yes, it's working. So we can confidently place this new clone NVMe on the new system. once you have cleaned up the contact surface, apply some paste onto your CPU. A small drop on each 4 corners and 1 drop in the center will do. Then put your heatsink back on and you are ready to go. This part is very important when you install your motherboard in your case. Make sure you use stand-up screws to raise the board from the surface of the case. If you don't do it, your computer may not power on, especially after removing, as it can lead to an electrical short. If this happens, try to boot up after you have loosened one screw that attaches your board to your case. Repeat until you can boot up by not having any shorts.